oh good, I literally just started streaming and opened the curtain because I was like, oh, it's not that bright outside. Why don't I open my curtain and allow a bit of light in? Second I do that, second I start streaming, I am hit by a ray of golden light from the sun. And I'm gonna have to shut the curtain again. This room that I live in kinda sucks, because it is right there when the sun rises in the sky. So the beams of light hit me directly in the face, and the screen as well. And I've got, what's it called? Blackout curtains, so if I close them, it's going to be impossible to see without another source of light in the room. But hello chat, welcome to a Friday stream. For some reason I've got a headache today. I had it yesterday, and I've got it today too. Not really too sure why, but here we are here to deal with it. Let's get into this, shall we? Into the fun, that is Persona 5 Royal Rose. Starting off with news, as usual. Just getting this up in the background. Lovely, right. Let's go for some news, chat. So, schedule this week, the last stream of the week, today at 1 PM. The episode's title. I like doing this now, like explaining the episode title. Pretty self-explanatory. It's the name of a song in Persona 5, and considering the Morgana focus currently, I thought Alley Cat worked quite well. So Alley Cat is the name of this episode. Moving on to next week's schedule, nothing has changed outside of the fact that I think we're going to be meeting a new character in this episode, or next week, or probably this episode as well. I assume the final party member, who I probably know who they are going to be. I don't know that much more about what they're gonna do with them. If we're being introduced to them at the same time we're dealing with all Morgana stuff, it's going to be a bit... hopefully it's well balanced, is all I'm going to say. Some cool news, chat. New Cuphead edit. I mentioned it last stream as well, but that will be releasing today at 6 PM, where you can see a 2-hour edit of Cuphead. Might be like Flower. Why is that so long? And why is that only part 1? Well, here's the thing. I decided instead of just doing a highlight reel to count every single death that occurs in Cuphead. This being every single time one of their characters gets to 0 HP and starts flying in the sky as a ghost. Not the number of attempts, which I'm also counting to be fair, but the number of deaths in each level. Which means that I can't half-ass like highlights. I have to give it the time it needs. And it's been fun. I'm looking forward to doing VL2 after I do the Extra Life video, which also is going to be interesting because I realized doing 6-hour segments for the Extra Life videos worked for the first 2, but it's not going to work for this next 2 because doing the next 6 hours would mean I would cut the last quickfire game, which means I'll cut plate up the game after the quickfire segment into half. So I decided that I'm only going to do the quickfire segments in part 3, and then part 4 will be a little bit longer, because it has plate up in it as well, and both the multiplayer games. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to doing the quickfire stuff, because that will allow me to do more speed editing. Chances are part 3 is going to be a lot shorter, because usually with my edits, I like to provide context. I don't like just splicing together funny moments, because I usually do it chronologically. I don't do it sporadically, like jumping between, because I don't want to miss something. So when it comes to the edits, I'm kind of like, okay, I need to provide context for this before getting to the bit. Otherwise, the bit will not be funny in the video. There needs to be context to the bit. And with the quickfire segments, because of their nature, I think it's going to be quite easy to do. Because even the vault themselves are in a state of constantly moving on. Something else, chat, and something I'm going to sort out on the weekend. Night Rain thread in the Discord. Night Rain is coming out next week, and considering how many people in the community are looking forward to it, I thought, what the hell? Why don't I open up a thread for it so that we can organize multiplayer sessions? Chances are I might be quiet. I have no idea. It seems that there was a reasonable amount of interest in the Discord, but if not, it'll be in there. I'll try and arrange some dates where we can do this stuff. But it's there. It's there in case people want to do it. But I'm very looking forward to doing more Elden Ring, especially having not played it since the DLC and purposely putting it on hold until now, because I don't want to kind of ruin that feeling of like getting burnout. End of Doom, chat. I'm not going to go too much into this because I do my review during the finale, but I have finished this now. Each episode is 3 levels, with the final episode being an additional level because there are 22. And I did a little level and weapon ranking at the end. So, spoiler warning for that if you want to see it. In terms of my overall opinion, I'll briefly summarize. I thought it was better than 2016, but not as good as Eternal. Kind of the gap between 2016 and this is a lot smaller than the gap between Eternal and Dark Ages. Eternal is one of my favourite action games ever, and it was a hard task to live up to it, and I think Dark Ages did a good job of creating its own identity, but in that search for an identity, they kind of lost a little bit of what I enjoy about Doom, which is the practicality of your weapons and the puzzles involved in using them. Now weapons are still good, but they feel less important. They feel like they are more so just tools to do damage rather than actually applying techniques to certain enemies. And with that loss, the game kind of feels a bit more, not boring necessarily, but more forgettable. It's harder to remember more notable level and enemy varieties because of how kind of spread the content is. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I think that I'm happy that we're in the situation. I started Sonic Origins. Which game did you start in it, Jeppo? Because there are 4, and a lot of Game Gear games as well, if I remember correctly. I don't know if I'll ever play Sonic Origins, considering the whole Christian Whitehead situation, and them, like, Sega just screwing them over entirely. You beat Sonic 1? Nice job. Close to the end of CD, also nice job. Right, spoiler warning, chat, in case you don't want spoilers for Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6. I'm going to briefly talk about this. So, I watched this episode a little bit later. I'm not really meshing well with the later episodes in this season. I'm kind of with the community to a certain extent with how I feel like the Seattle stuff, which is the meat and potatoes of Last of Us Part 2, kind of gets sidelined and it feels rushed. I don't know why this season is only 7 episodes, but in a TV show like this, I think it really needed those 3 more episodes to really flesh things out, because the show gets no room to breathe, especially in episode 5, because we're moving between plot point to plot point. Like, there's no like moment to even think, because we're moving to this, to this, to this, to that. And I think it could have done with, like, again, an additional 2 episodes, maybe even like just 1 episode. As for this episode, probably the best one of the season, in my opinion. And I might know why, because it's directed by Neil Druckmann, who is the creator of Last of Us, the games anyway. They basically take all the flashbacks from Last of Us Part 2 and put them all together. There was one part of this I do not like, but I will get to that in a second. I really like the additional scenes. The scenes with Justine? I forget what his name is, but the old man was good. It was a really good new addition. It gave Ellie more of a reason to distrust Joel that didn't require her to find a very convenient radio in the game. But then we'll move to the thing I don't like. Chat. In the game, the flashbacks are placed across the experience purposefully to make you feel certain things. For example, you get the birthday flashback with Joel when Ellie is hunting down Abby. It makes you hate Abby more, so you want to hunt her down. You then get the other flashbacks about how she slowly lost her trust, and slowly you start to realize maybe this is unhealthy, maybe what she's doing is bad. Until the end of the game, where they're both fighting, Ellie has almost killed Abby, and she gets the final flashback in that moment, where she can't necessarily forgive Joel, but she wants to try. And I think that the placement of that is fantastic. So, I enjoyed that a lot. In this show, they combine the confession scene with the forgiveness scene. It happens on the porch, happens at the same time. On the one hand, I don't necessarily mind it, because I guess, like, she wouldn't be angry because she's already known, but there was something about that scene that was lost that I kind of miss, and them being separated for that amount of time I think works better. And then there's the whole fact that this scene is not going to appear now, I assume, in its entirety in the final fight between the two of them. Not to mention recent news that the show might go on for 2 more seasons. What? Because the whole narrative is based around this connection that Ellie has to Joel. If we're dropping all the flashbacks now, what are they going to do in season 3 and 4 to make us care? Because the attention span of a weary TV show audience is not going to be as in line of a video game. But so far it's fine. I don't mind the change necessarily. I just think that it just feels like they did it because TV audiences don't understand subtlety, which is sad because that is kind of the state of current TV shows where they're not allowed to have subtlety because they have an audience who might be watching on their other device, which sucks. I don't like that. I don't like that trend. Don't want that anymore. We want anyway. I hope people want good TV shows that trust the audience and don't need to shovel information to them constantly with exposition. Anyway, that's Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6. Moving on to Anime Talk chat. Anime Talk. Dr. Stone had a chance to watch more of this week with my friend. And we watched 3 episodes because they wanted me to get to the end of this arc that transpired in Dr. Stone. And I think that this show is really fucking good, man. Like, I love the tone. I love the animation. Everything they do here is great. The animators, I mentioned this before, but they deserve like all the rewards for being able to mix all these different like comedic events, sad events, action scenes all together perfectly. I don't know who the animation team is, but they are wonderful. Not necessarily diving into spoilers, but I called it at the beginning of the season. I said to my friend, what about the people in space? What happened to them? And then in this episode, we see a character in space watch the petrification occur. And it's pretty horrifying. And then we find out that the village that Senku was at is named after him. Ishigami Village. His adoptive father. Emphasis on the adopted father, mind you. They just kind of drop that information and they don't really speak that much more on it. Like, they say it twice. The dad says it and then Senku says it. Which there might be 2 reasons for this. 1, they don't want his relations with the villagers to be weird, even though they say in the show they wouldn't be weird anyway because of the generational gap. And 2, there's some fuckery going on with his actual birth parents, and it might explain how he was able to break out of the stone even though he has no power to otherwise. He's a cyborg, chat. That's the answer. He's a cyborg. Whenever you see the mecha version of him in the show, that's actually him. That's the plot twist. No. But I like the main character a lot. Like, he's very silly. He's very evil a lot of the time. Like, he's almost an antagonist. In a funny way, he's like an antagonist. He literally enslaves villagers for noodles. And I love that. He's great. They do a lot with him that I think works really well for a character who doesn't really have any romantic ties or emotional connection. The emotional connection is very scientific. But in this episode, we get to see more of an emotional side to him. And I enjoyed that a lot. Oh, hold on. Give me a sec, chat. It's something in real life. It was my housemate. They are on a work thing this weekend. I didn't know they were coming back today, but they're just popping in to go to the bathroom, and then they're going to go. But yeah, good show. I enjoyed it at the stone. I'm going to watch more of it. We got the whole Tsukasa army thing happening now, so I'm excited to see that. Okay, 2 more things, chat. Bionic Bay, very good. I'm enjoying that. Think I'm probably going to get it finished tonight, I think. It's not that long of a game. And then, Maelstrom Alpha, this is his fault. If he's here right now, this is your fault, Mael. He's playing Twilight Princess currently, which made me want to play Wind Waker, because I haven't played Wind Waker in a while. Like, this happens every year. I have like 2 Zelda games that kind of circulate in my brain, and then I play them after not playing them in a while. Last year I did, obviously, the Hyrule Drum Ball. Before that I did Twilight Princess, and I think Minish Cap? Yeah, I did Minish Cap. And this year I'm doing Wind Waker, because I like Wind Waker a lot. I don't think I give it a lot of, like, justice compared to the other Zeldas, but it's mainly because the second half I think is a little bit mid. I'm at the halfway point. In what? Also, you just beat Sonic CD. Did you beat it on like during the pre-stream? Good job. Right, we're gonna do a bit of guess the game chat because I keep forgetting to do this. Well, not forgetting. I haven't had time to do it. That's why I started earlier today. Sonic 2 and 3 and Knuckles are long. Yeah, they are. I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles are basically 2 games, despite being technically 1 game. Guess the game. This makes me think Skyrim. What? I was going to say, why didn't that work? But I put in Skyrim. It's not Skyrim. Kazam. No. The God of War game. Yeah, it is. It's God of War 3. Oh no, it's Ascension. I know that because I recently put these into my back catalogue, and I remember Ascension came out in 2013. There we go. I might need to play Ascension at some point on stream. I don't know when. There is some recent news that I didn't mention during the pre-stream, but Insert Disc 5 are making a new game. If you remember, in 2023, my favourite game that year was something called In Stars and Time, and they're making a new game. I will be streaming that, chat, because that dev created something that was very important to me now, and I need to play everything they make. So it's basically like Silksong. Silksong will also be streamed, chat. I know I keep talking about my feature series, but if either these 2 games release, they will be on the back burner while I play these games. This is the way things are gonna go. Okay, this is Sonic Mania. Oh, it's not. Is this Sonic Origins? The game that Jeppo is literally playing right now? No. Is it Sonic 3? Yeah, that's Hydrocity Zone. Also, it's not Hydrocity, it's Hydro City. I subscribe to Hydro City. People say Hydrocity. That is wrong. Well, no, that's not wrong, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with you. Condemned. One day I'll be condemned. Dying Light. Okay, this is an entirely different game. Oh, this is Days X. Is a new one? Mankind Divided? Yes. I haven't played Deus Ex before. Maybe I'll like it. They're like stealth cyberpunk games, aren't they? Is this Monster Hunter Tales? Stories. Tales of Vesperia? Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that because I've heard this is a very good video game. Okay, that's it.